So our stream is going. I do think gold is going to make a new high. For all you magnetos out there, gold's going to make a new high. Another new high. It's probably going to test the VWAP again at some point this morning also. So that's an interesting magnet. So let's say you're watching gold and it's not getting to the high. So the new program has a great way of testing trading the VWAP. You just go to high of day, low of day on the control panel, custom level, target VWAP.
Feds,
Okay.
Myron says monetary policy is still
Find your
modestly
little
restrictive in
order
my
line.
view.
All right. That's our
And Myron
entry.
says
And we're
this is
going to
different than
enter
Ukraine invasion in 2022
above the
because monetary
VWAP,
and
right?
fiscal policy were
We're
both
not going
more
to enter below
expansionary.
the VWAP because we're coming down to the VWAP. That's how easy it is to change your targeting for a new magnet. And then as soon as I have my hands on the updated version, I'll show you how to set the actual trade up. You can use the reverse continuation trade to enter if you want to. In other words, I always put a reverse continue on every chart, every single chart. So I would have a reverse continue on this chart, no matter what instrument I trade, no matter what instrument.
Feds, Myron says way too early to reject the trend of weakening labor market.
So if I'm trading MGC, I'd have at least a 2 contract trade, a
Secretary of
target
War
at
Hegseth
least
says
of
Iran cannot
35,
outlast us.
probably a stop of 50. That would be a discretionary, simple discretionary trade.
And Hegseth further saying we will make sure of that.
I'd
Feds,
label it
Myron says there's
GC
a
reverse
2-year trend of
continue,
labour market
MGC,
weakening
because that's
and
what
it's
it
too
is.
early to reject that based on one of
Apply
our
it and
or 2
okay it.
months of data.
And now, if I don't turn the magnet on, right, I just want to watch because I don't want an automatic entry. I can trade it with the reverse continue. If it gets to the
Hegseth says
line,
only
I can
limits
press
are Trump's
short.
desire to achieve specific
Or I
effects
could
in the Iran
turn
war.
auto on. My target is going to be
And
5172-ish,
Hegseth says
right
it
by
could
the
take 4
VWAP.
weeks, it could be 8, or
If
it
you
could be 3.
hover over the box, that's what it shows you. And the entry is 5179. It shows you that also. And then if I move my entry, it shows you that in the box also, what your moved
Feds, Myron says I
target,
don't see
your
evidence of
entry is.
concerns in inflation
So the
markets, and I don't think we're probably at a
orange
point
line is
above
the
neutral
entry.
now.
Orange line is the entry. Okay. The orange line appears, and actually it's going to change. We're clearing up some confusion with the final version. The orange line
Feds, Myron says markets don't seem concerned about long-term inflation
starts
expectations.
out as the magnet. Let's say that you're not targeting anything except you're a Fibonacci trader and you have a Fibonacci you want to target. And
That
that
concludes
level
comments
is
from Feds, Myron.
5190. So you would
Excuse me, that
just
concludes comments from
enter
Hegseth. Myron
custom
says
level 5190 into the software, and the orange line would
1 percentage
appear
point of
there.
cuts appropriate this year.
So, but the orange line is not the magnet. It's placed where the magnet would be. All right. If you type in 5190, that's where you want to exit. You're then, however, going to move your order. And of course, I'll explain all this again when we have the second part of our class. Let's get to oil because that's what we're doing now. Oil and YM and RTY. So let's get everything like we're supposed to do. First things first. Oil, CL 0426. Oil's actually down a little bit today. Oil 74.50. Wait till you see what inflation is going to look like. Oh,
Fed's Myron says if housing inflation deaccelerates as expected, the Fed could undershoot the 2% target.
These people, yeah, your Fed's talking undershoot 2%. These people are insane. Inflation is going to continue up. Oil moved up overnight and then about 4 a.m. Now, it was somewhat negative, a little bit of negativity yesterday when they said they were going to insure ships going
Fed's
through the
Myron says
Strait of
appropriate to
Hormuz.
continue to cut at the March meeting, have not changed the outlook based on the outbreak of
Try to
conflict
get
in
paid
Iran.
on that. That'd be tricky probably, but that did have a negative effect on the price of oil, which has been obviously going up on this news, the war. So at the moment, we have a little bit of negativity in the price of oil. Again, it's very difficult to know what direction to take a trade in when you have a war, when you have something that is creating
And
market
Fed's Myron just
movement
further
based
saying
on
the Fed
news
move by
volatility.
25 basis point cuts until we get to
First thing I'm
neutral.
going to do is put a reverse continuation on every chart. All right, reverse continue on every
Fed's
chart.
Myron says
Oil,
would like to continue with quarter point cuts until the Fed reach neutral, then reevaluate.
one contract, 25, 20 tick target, 20 tick stop. Reverse
And Fed's
continue
Myron further
on
saying
oil.
at this moment, see it as appropriate to continue cutting.
And I'm not trading oil in a funded account. All right. CL reverse continue. CL reverse continue. So we have a reverse continuation set up on oil. Let's set up a reverse continuation on the YM. Click News Trader, change the breakout to a reverse continuation. Right now I got one contract, 35 tick target, 35 tick stop. And I'll trade YM in my one of my morning funded accounts. And we'll label it YM reverse continue. I'm just trying to think what account I want to trade it in. Let's trade it here.
Fed's Myron says layoffs at Block are
All right, YM reverse
indicative
continue.
of what could be coming, but it's just
Just
one
one
company.
contract, 35 tick target, 35 tick stop. Just make sure everything matches the right account. That's turned on. YM just did a big magnet. All right, off of the VWAP. I'll bet that was a great signal. When I turn the magnet on, you'll see that was probably an awesome signal. RTY, gonna stay with the opening breakout range trade at the moment. Might go to range trades on the RTY in the morning. But this morning, put first the reverse continuation, 35 and 35, target 35, stop 35. Just one contract this morning. Trading that in my MNQ funded account. And we'll call that RTY reverse continue. So we have
Fed's
our
Myron says
three
the Fed
reverse
should accommodate
continues
AI
set up.
jobs transition with easier monetary policy.
Okay. Might as well put the market open on
Fed's
the
Myron says don't think
RTY.
credit issues warrant a change in monetary policy.
So we have an opening range. That's a ways away, but I'll load it, throw it on the chart. And don't forget we have ISM services this morning. So the RTY open is a range trade 929.50. It starts 6 ticks above the range, 6 ticks below. Show the range graphics on chart. And the range at 9:30 and 10 seconds with 2 contracts and a 12-tick
Morales had
target,
not talked to Trump since resigning as chair of CEA.
25 stop. So that's our range trade at the moment on RTY. And we need to label that also. Whoops. Need to label it.
And
RTY
Fed's Warren
open.
says, do not have a good idea of when Walsh will become chair, but I hope to have clarity soon.
All right, so we've got RTY ready when we are ready. And then our YM, we're putting the magnet on. Now, obviously, you don't have to trade all of these setups. You can pick your favorite setup. Maybe you just like trading YM. Maybe you just like trading the YM on the open. These are just all the ones I'm testing and doing. All right, you don't have to do all of these. It's hard to manage all of these setups at once. So the YM putting on a high of day, whoops, high of day, low of day breakout magnet. All right. So high of day, low of day. I think we can still get away with that. $691. Yeah, we've got plenty of room now. I'd like to see it pull back. That's what I would like to see out of the YM, a nice pullback. So that we can have to travel a little bit further to get to the magnet. And what I'm going to do is just put 2 positions for 1 target for the magnet. 2 positions for 1 target. Starting with a 40 stop. We'll see where the stop winds up when the trade turns on. I'm going to label it YM magnet. And I'm trading that. So I have 2 funded accounts. RTY and MNQ are in the same account. YM's in a different one. So YM magnet. Two contracts looking for a test of the magnet. All right, that's my test. Apply it, okay it, turn it on. And my entry, I don't see if there's going to be any profit, if this is worth trading. 20 ticks of possible profit. We're early, so if it doesn't pull back, it might test the magnet early. I'd like to see it pull back. So I like what it's doing. I said I thought we should have had a signal. Look at that. That was a VWAP signals in a market that's trending are really good. The place where VWAP signals get challenging is when you test the VWAP a little bit up, you test the VWAP a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down. If it consolidates around the VWAP, then you get too many signals. If you can learn to recognize really good signals, you don't have to get in instantly. There's plenty of room. And then there was a pullback signal. And again, I always test the worst entry. Now there's my entry early on the YM. I didn't want to trade quite this early. I did not want to trade quite this early. It's a little bit early for me. I probably should have. Probably this morning I'm missing all my good trades because they're all early. So I was going to check this signal. 48 ticks possible. Not bad. Even on a signal you might not have taken. You might have. Oil looks like it's going to test the low. So we have our reverse continue. I suppose you could have scalped your way into that, right? You could have scalped that test. It's like a guarantee. It feels guaranteed, doesn't it? It's just the prop account, right? It's just the prop account. It's a little bit late. It's a little bit of a chase here. I don't like chasing when the whole move is over. It's done the whole move. And then you're chasing for 20 ticks instead of 50. You know, it's not the best use of your risk. So it's going to do it without me. I'm just trying to behave. I'm going to set up our range trade, which I wish it would have waited until the market opened to do this testing, right? There's the test. All right, putting on, I'm just agonizing a little bit. Putting on our range trade. So I'll load the template for our oil trade that nobody wants to trade anymore. It's worked a little bit this week.
Qatar would need 2 weeks to restart gas liquefaction after full shutdown, according to sources citing initial estimates.
So we're calling this oil new open range. That's what it's
According to
called.
sources, once restarted, Qatar would need at least another 2 weeks to reach full capacity. Oil futures fall further, Brent crude down 1.1%.
Oil new open range. Right click it, rename it. Today's date.
Iran to target Israeli embassies worldwide if Israel attacks Iranian embassy in Beirut. This according to Iranian armed forces spokesman cited as saying by Iranian media.
So the range trade starts at 859, one tick above the range, one tick below the range. Show the range graphics on the chart. And the range at 90040. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1, 8 tick target, 20 tick target, 15 tick stop, and target 1 stop move break even -4. Break even -4. All right, and I'm just going to trade that in a general, the prop account that I'm trading the reverse continue in. Not funded. Labeled CL range. Apply it. Okay, turn it on. So our oil trade is ready to go. Our YM is struggling to make the magnet. Now, would we have left our stop at a generic 40 tick target? Where would you put your stop if you were filled at that green line? I think the perfect place for the stop is below all of this market structure here. It's not a tiny stop, but it is seems like an intelligent stop to me in this area, right? That's one possible stop. It's big. The other possible stop is using structure. That's another set of structure, right? A little bit less risk. But now I think either you use this and that stop is 82 ticks. Okay. Now, in these markets, 80 ticks on the YM is not an unreasonable stop. It's a big stop, but it's not unreasonable. Or you could just have your stop under, trying to find good structure to be under so that you don't get stopped out. You know, you've got the wick of this candle. That's your worst stop, in my opinion. The wick of this candle. I mean, really, the best stop is there. That's my favorite stop. It's even, the VWAP's just too far. It's way too much risk. Or you could just have a random 20 tick stop if it doesn't work and wait for the next test, right? You don't have to do a big stop. I mean, I decided not to trade at this time of day just because I certainly prefer after 9 to get into a YM magnet. Occasionally we get one that does work. Look, this one worked at 8:15. That was a great one. However, look at the trending market that it was part of. It was part of a really nice trending market. We're part of a consolidating market now, right? Or more of a choppy market. Less of a good outcome is thought to be possible because not as good of a market. When you look at the previous move up, that is a higher probability test of a high than a market that looks like this, right? So it's important to watch the
And you
markets
expect to be
that you
exhausted
want
with
to
US
trade
universal tariff
and
on
learn their
February 22nd.
behavior and just
Sirens sounded for
taking a
Bahrain according
long
to Al
or a
Jazeera TV.
short usually works better in a market
A
that
bit more further inside,
looks
the
like
European
it's
Union
going to go in that
Council,
direction.
European Union
You've
expects the
got
US
trend
won't
in your
increase its
favor.
universal tariff on the bloc by
Here,
15%,
look at the
even after
squeeze. You
trending
don't
up to
really have a
8%, with
trending
the higher rate
squeeze.
would likely go into effect next
Volume,
week.
no really great hints on volume. And then look at the market that worked, a nice trending market. And it wasn't even that fast. We were here, we were watching. But that's a beautiful trend. And those are the best opportunities, especially for magnets. Magnets love that kind of a trend. I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Now, watching the YM, theoretically, you could still be in the trade, depending which market structure you use or what you're willing to lose, right? What you're willing to risk. All right, so here's our oil trade. Let's see what happens. I'm laughing because this has been such a crazy trade. Now, the YM,
US effective
you
federal
could
funds rate
start your
fell to
magnet over
0.25%
if
on
you're
Tuesday.
willing to start thinking about actually taking an entry after 9 o'clock. It's still not going to be, probably not going to be a great trending market on the YM. This morning, I'm almost tempted. The later might be the better. The later entry might be the better. You can't get an entry on structure. 729 is the buy, and it's only an 11 tick target. That's crappy. That's about a 20 tick target. More viable for a decent profit at least. And then down at the bottom, I mean, look, we could easily get 100. We could easily fill the
Voice
gap.
news disconnected.
You could fill the gap on the YM and have a short or a long magnet.
Order submitted.
Absolutely possible. Orders are on for the oil trade. It's a pretty big range. Personally,
Order submitted.
not dying to get filled long. I think it's probably a better short this morning. I'd be surprised if this trade works. It's a 15 tick stop, and it's going to get stopped
Order
out in
filled.
1 second. This is the reason that we don't love this oil trade. It's an inconsistent mess. However, maybe shouldn't have allowed the long fill, in all seriousness. I think if oil does anything, it's probably going to go back and retest the short. I could have expanded our stop to 20, right? But we just know this oil report is somewhat inconsistent. That's what we're dealing with. Yesterday it worked, today it didn't. The stop is relatively small. I think we have to really take a new look at it this week and see if we can come up with a new setup. I think it really needs a new setup entirely. Or, like we said, it's not really a trade we want to trade. That we know. I mean, so I don't think too many people are trading it. I'm trading it. I'm here. That's the only reason I'm doing it, to see what it does with a prop account. That it just, let's look at life with reality. What's the worst that happens if you damage a prop account? Nothing. It's fake trading. It's playing games. If you have a couple of good funded accounts, that's when it's real. Those accounts you try and work on and trade properly. But I think the reality is prop account trading has a level of absurdity that just cannot be measured using normal values. I don't know what else to say. Frank, that would be awesome. Thank you. I mean, look, where else? You don't do YOLO trades generally in your cash accounts, right? Do you do a YOLO trade in your cash account? Now, we just should have expanded the darn stop this morning. We should have made the stop 20. Maybe we would have survived here.
Apple announces MacBook Neo.
All right, so look, oil didn't work. I'm not going to scalp oil now. I missed my scalp, okay? I missed my scalp when it went to test the low. That was a good scalp. Not going to do a coulda, woulda, shoulda, but I should have taken it. So I'm getting rid of my oil. Turning on my RTY. Let me go over the RTY open one more time. We have a reverse continue on the RTY. All right. Just a simple discretionary trade. And I think this morning we could shrink our YM a little bit, just a tiny bit. Widen our RTY a little bit. RTY reverse continue.
Sky News says the UK warship will not be deployed to Cyprus until next week.
RTY reverse continue. All right, one target, 35 tick target, 35 tick stop. Label the trade, RTY reverse continue, trading that in a funded account. All right. So that's RTY reverse continue. That's there. Then we have our RTY market open. Has been a little bit difficult. That's a range trade, starting the range at 929.50, ending the range at 930, 10 seconds. Two positions, two targets, one position. A 12 tick target and a 25 tick stop. Six ticks above the range, 6 ticks below the range. Show the range graphics on chart. That's that trade. All right. And then we have our MNQ. Let's get our MNQ going. Anybody have any questions? Is everybody okay out there? Not going too fast. Okay. Francis, are you trading oil anymore? So we've got our MNQ on. All right, so let's put our reverse continue. Love those reverse continues. Now, you know that Magnet has a reverse continue built in. So if you're watching or trading magnets, you can use the
Apple's
reverse
MacBook
continue
Neo
from
uses the
inside the
A18 Pro
magnet.
chip and side firing speakers.
I like having an external reverse continue on the chart, because what if you're in the middle of a magnet trade? Then you can't use the magnet's reverse continue. It's just put there for convenience.
Apple's MacBook Neo laptop is priced from $599.
Let's put on our reverse continue. Change the breakout. Put a couple of contracts. We usually do a 40 or 50 target and a 40 or a 75 stop. Micros. It's 50 cents a tick. And we will label it, put it on the funded account like we do each morning. Label it MNQ reverse continue. All right, that baby's all set up. I'm going to put the chart on sim though, because we are going to check our bracket, right? That we know. We're going to check our bracket. Oh, the dog is passing gas. Oh my God. It smells like the world just ended in this office. All right, putting on our breakout trade. I'm worried about this little dog. He's had 2 surgeries. He didn't look quite right this morning. I might take him to the vet. I don't know. I worry about this little dog. I like this dog. He's really cute. News trader. So we're going to load our template for the market open. MNQ new open. MNQ new open. Let's find that. MNQ new open. Right click it and give it today's date like we always do. Today's the 4th. All right. So we have a breakout, 929.59, MNQ, 35 bracket. Targets, I'm using 40 and 100 today. Stop if it hits break even. I'm doing break even. If it hits my first target, target one stop move is BE, break even. I've got a 150 tick stop at the moment. Labeled break even. We're going to put our time on 0 and the chart is on 0. We're just going to look at the bracket for trade management purposes.
Order submitted. Order
A
canceled.
little bit tight. See, I wish our bracket didn't have to be so wide apart. The MNQ, you have a lot of levels to test if you're a magnet trader. You can test magnets in the morning. We're doing our breakout, but I've been talking about how this breakout on the MNQ, while it works most days, it's a small profit winner, and when it loses, it's a big loser. And it's not building up the account. So this funded account has just been sitting in the same place forever. That's the sad reality. It's just been in the same place forever because I don't have enough big winners. I got to think about how I want to change it over the weekend. Might just be as simple as just going to NQ with a setup. But the MNQ, while it's not a bad setup, it just isn't profitable. Because when you have a loser, it wipes out a whole week of winners almost. So that's the problem. It's a little bit frustrating. But the answer is just full size contract. So let's check that bracket one more time. Let's turn off the vertical line on entry.
Order canceled.
Still pretty tight. I think we're going to get a magnet on the MNQ.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
And we are what? 92, 8, 36 points, 7,240 ticks for a magnet. That's not bad. That's not a bad magnet trade. 140 ticks profit. But you wouldn't be entering from here. So your profit's going to be much higher up. All right. All right, let's turn on our breakout. 929.59. And just checking the MNQs are in account 54 with the RTY. The YM magnet, I think it's going to test, it's going to make the magnet and test the high now. MNQ is a 930 trade, so now we just wait. Wait for a very important date. What song is that? Wait for a very important date. I don't remember. So we have a couple of different setups. We have an RTY range trade on the right. We have a magnet YM. Not the greatest trending market for magnets. And then waiting on the market open for the MNQ. And then we have ISM services and oil inventories. All right.
Order submitted.
Got to fill on the YM. The stop has to be below market structure. Has to be. All right. So now we're just, as the Moody Blues would say, watching and waiting. Watching and waiting. I think that's the best song they ever wrote. Watching and waiting for someone to understand me. Why has it been so long? I think those are the right words. Justin Hayward, still touring, close to 80. All the other Moody's are gone. Graham Edge, the drummer, died a couple of years ago. John Lodge died suddenly last year. He wrote and sang I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band. Who else? Ray Thomas, the flute player, he died quite a few years ago. And then Mike Pinder, the Mellotron player, he died quite a few years ago also. And my YM trade is just not working at the moment. Good morning, Ross. Living in Kenya is a constant power problem, it seems. It's just a norm. It's a norm. What kind of generator do you have? Do you have a generator? How come you don't have a generator? That's my question. Maybe you do have a generator. So we still have a lot of time before the open. The YM magnet got filled. What kind of fuel does your generator use? Petrol. That's gas, right? What's the long word, petrol? Petroleum? No. What's the long word for petrol? Or is that the word? Petroleum. Yeah, I'm not. I thought it was. For some reason, petroleum just didn't sound like the right word. Petroleum. So here's our YM
Order
funded
filled.
account with a beautiful little magnet, everybody, if you took it. It worked really nicely. Remember, I just threw 2 contracts on for a test of the magnet. You could have had that second target as a target of 10, and you would still be in the trade with your stop to break even or break even -2, waiting to see if it goes through the magnet. Okay, that's the other possibility. A nice magnet in a funded account. That's good. Remember I said the MNQ magnet would probably work. It's going to test the high. Looks like that's going to happen. So our YM magnet now becomes a signal generator, and it does not need petrol. Did anybody trade the magnet with me? Anybody? I think the YM magnets, if I like them after 9, unless you have a beautiful, beautiful trending market, then you could take it earlier, I think. Right? Yeah, Francis, that sounds good to me also. Sandra, you did it in Sim? Sandra, I think these YM magnets are pretty good. Maybe do 1 contract, you know? You can always, magnets are real nice with 1 contract. And micros. Micros, you just have to trade a lot of contracts to make anything. Or get a gigantic move. Micros are tough to make money. They are challenging. Short signal, green candle. I like the potential of this signal short. Why? Because I don't trust an up market in this
China's foreign minister
environment.
says China will send its special envoy on the Middle East issues to regional
So I'm
countries
making believe
to
I got
conduct
short
mediation
at
efforts.
8. I'm making believe in my mind I got short at 8. It's a little close to the open to take a short or a trade, right? We just made nice profit on the magnet. You don't have to run into anything at the moment, right? Ah, thank you for that little bit of history, uh, Francis. I love that kind of knowledge. It's actually knowledge that comes from a rare thing, reading. The crazy thing is bookstores, Barnes and Nobles has been opening bookstores at a very nice pace in the United States. That means there is hope for people making intelligent decisions. It's just not apparent anywhere in this country. All righty then. All righty then. I don't know if anybody remembers where that came from. It's from a very, 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 very funny movie. They made a really bad sequel. All righty then. I can't even remember the name of the movie. I just remember the beginning of the movie. Jim Carrey as a UPS type driver throwing boxes, just delivering boxes in the funniest way. He was so funny. What was the name of that Jim Carrey movie? His most famous first hit? Really? It was like one of his first big hits. Ace Ventura, thank you. That's it, Phil. That is it. That first one is the first 45 minutes is one of the funniest 45 minutes of any movie, I think. My personal opinion. There's a lot of movies where like you have a first 45 minutes are beyond belief. I think Animal House might fall into that category, first 45 minutes. I have to rewatch it to remember. It's really hard to sustain a comedy throughout the whole movie, but I just remember Ace Ventura laughing hysterically nonstop for a good 45 minutes. It is funny. It really was funny. And not dirty, you know what I mean? It's funny in like a wholesome kind of way, really, which is hard to do. Jim Carrey, he was a superstar. He's one of those people that when you back away from Hollywood, they always make the person out to be crazy. Jim Carrey is not crazy if you've ever heard him speak. He's one of those people who didn't embrace what other people claim is the perverted Hollywood lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Jim Carrey apparently did not go to a lot of parties, and when you don't do all the stuff that a lot of people do, they tend to brand you as crazy. I'm trying to think who else was branded as crazy. Jim Carrey, at least as far as I could see, is not crazy. Look at that. I'm crazy for
A
not
man
taking
says
that
gets
short
report of a
signal
cargo ship coming under fire.
on the YM that I said was a good signal, right, folks? Yes, it was a little bit early. So what? How many ticks did we get? I said I would short at 11, right? I said I was shorting around 11.
A man says Malta
50
flagged cargo
ticks, we'll
ship under
say,
fire from 2 missiles.
conservatively. 50 ticks. See how, yes, there's plenty of really crappy signals, but there are certain signals
A man further says the ship under fire near the Strait of Hormuz.
that are just really good. And so, why was that possibly a better signal than others? Well, you're in a market that maybe doesn't trust the upside. I think that's one reason. So, you may not have 50 highs of days. The YM didn't really go very far through the high of day on this magnet test. It had a recent magnet test also, not that long ago, right? That weakens the next magnet, in my opinion. I'd rather have the first fresh magnet as my trade. So I'm just trying to come up with reasons why that might have been a better signal to take than others. You have I like nicely formed momentum bars on the squeeze. What I don't like are signals that have bars that look like this. And these are things you want to watch. Let me show you
1 minute
momentum
remaining. The
bars
market
that
on
look
open
like
imbalance.
this. In here, if you're getting signals generated in here, they're most probably consolidation bad signals. But when you get signals where you have nicely formed bars, that usually means it's a little bit more of a trending market. It might be a short trend, right? This is a short trend, pretty short, although it started back right at about 9:05-ish, right? But look, your stop is above the high of day. It hasn't even come close to challenging it. This profit's not done. You may go and
10
test the
seconds.
low. I think a magnet test to the low is a valid trade
Order
now.
submitted.
High of day,
Market
low
on
of
open.
day.
Imbalance.
Order
S&P
submitted. Order
500. Buy
filled.
side 88 million.
Order
Nasdaq
filled.
100.
Okay,
Sell
our
side
our
17 million. Dow 30. Buy
MNQ,
side 38
Order
million. Mag
submitted.
7. Sell side 11 million.
our stupid MNQ. I can't take it
Order
anymore.
submitted.
I'm watching my RTY.
Order filled.
RTY worked. Okay. So the RTY saved our MNQ. The problem with the MNQ, it looks like to me, it hit the first target and reversed the second target. Hang on, let me just see something. Did I make a mistake? No, it went to break even. What was that? Was that account flat when it started? I got to look at the video. It might have made $40 or something like that. RTY made money. Let's turn off the breakout MNQ and remove it. The best MNQ trade, if everyone noticed, I may go to MNQ magnets in the morning. That's what I might do because I don't like the breakout. Now, the YM, low of day magnet, is an interesting trade. I'm not interested really in the high of day. The low of day, if you get that gap fill, that might work. The RTY open worked nicely. We're getting rid of that strategy. Yes, Roz, I was getting ready to sue you. Our lawyer was getting ready to contact you. So just from discussing, we were looking at NQ magnets.
According to a state news agency, a man says it has saved the crew of a Malta-flagged shipping vessel that was targeted by 2 missiles near the Strait
Or
of
an
Hormuz.
MNQ test of the high. If you could have done a reverse continue, there's a lot of different ways you can test the high. I think that our MNQ was that account zero? That account was zero, so it was a small profit on the MNQ. I think it made about $35, and then the RTY made 140, 130, 120, somewhere in there. And look, this was an interesting signal that your entry is not great because it's a fast market. It's right at the open. Those are the riskiest signals to take right at the open. Why? Because you might get some chop at the open that might invalidate your signal rather quickly. So you have to understand that signals at opens are subject to being very short-lived. Now, I'm not dying to take a magnet in this winning funded account on the YM because we also have ISM services we have to deal with. And we need to prepare for that. So here's what I'm going to do. Create a new video and a new event. So first things first, we had the ADP report, which did not fill. Then we had the market
CoreWeave
opens.
shares up 5.5% after the company agrees a deal to power
Oil
Perplexity's
didn't
AI
work this morning, but
inference
that's really not
workloads.
an official trade. I'm not recommending anybody trade that oil report. US Open and RTY. All right, today's date. I just want to see one thing. was our price? I can't see anything.
At 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, we have US S&P Services
Can't
PMI
see.
final forecast
All
52
right.
spot 3, unchanged from the prior, with a range
So
of
now I need
52
to
spot
set up
6
a
to
new
52.
chart.
US
So
S&P Composite
ISM
PMI final
Services
forecast
is
52
the
spot
next
3,
event
unchanged from the prior.
we're trading. So everybody's typing in how they
Iran
did.
denies intelligence ministry reached out to the CIA for talks.
Sander got 60 on MNQ. Good for that. DJ, RTY, and MNQ. Frank, you had a bad MNQ. Huh. Same
Seeing
setup as
movement to the
everybody?
upside in WTI crude
What was your
off the back
bracket?
of the latest headlines.
What size bracket? $30. So that's a little smaller than mine. I think mine was a 35 though. It's not that big. Did you get filled in the right direction? Here's our MNQ. Let's go look at it. And our MNQ was on 0, wasn't it? Yeah, it was on 0. So here's the MNQ. I wasn't even watching it. I was watching the RTY. Nitin, your morning trades are very, very steady. So, Frank, I assume you got filled short. The MNQ is 60 bucks. 60 bucks. I traded 5 contracts. 3 on target 1. 3 on target 1. And went to break even if it hit target 1, which it did. So, Frank, you got filled the right direction. It might be a target question. It was really choppy. It just barely hit my target of 40. All right, I wanted to just show you the move. You could see that it was pretty fast reversal also. It really was a long trade this morning, which we thought it was going to be a test of the high. And it did test the high. Let's get our butts to RTY. ISM, I mean. So I say RTY because that's the instrument I'm interested in trading on RTY. ISM, it's definitely got some risk. All right. We definitely have risk because all the reports with world news are much riskier than if the markets were just normal. It's the
Bitcoin
setups
hits 1
are
month
more
high, last up
difficult
5.7%.
by their nature to come up with the best, most reliable setups. It's difficult when the world's different. Yeah, so
Seeing oil
Nitin, we
rise
do our
after Iran
testing.
denies
I know that
ministry
you do
reached
your
out to the
testing,
CIA.
and we have an MNQ setup on ISM, and we like the RTY better. The MNQ for ISM services, it's not really one of the ones we're in love with. Now, there is a gold trap. That is risky as an animal. It's very risky. It's not even on the chart on the DMM. So I'm going to trade RTY on ISM services. The question is, can we get away with a 20 bracket? So here's the setup. We're triggering at 8:29:59.
In 5 minutes' time, we have the US S&P
No,
Services
you know
PMI
what?
final forecast 52
No.
spot 3,
What am I
unchanged from
talking about?
prior, with a range of 52
9,
spot 6 to
it's 10
52.
o'clock. I'm
US
like in
S&P
another
Composite
time zone.
PMI final forecast 52 spot
9:59.
3, unchanged from prior.
59. Sorry. 9:59:59. That's our trigger. 9:59:59. Right now our bracket's 20. Target 1 is only 8 ticks. I'm going to make it 10. And target 2 is 20. It's not been a big mover. $20. So we got target 1 is
Crypto
10,
stocks
target
rise
2.
as
I'm
Bitcoin hits
going
over
to go
3-week
30
high.
though, because I'd
Coinbase
rather,
Global up
if
10%.
it's a big mover today, let's manage out of it. So I'm going to do 10 and 40. All right, 10 and 40. Break even if it hits the first target, and the stop is 30. I'll label it RTY breakout. All right, RTY breakout. We'll test the
Trump sends
breakout.
Interior Secretary to Venezuela to push oil and mining.
Test the breakout in Sim.
So Secretary Bergen plans to meet with acting Venezuela President Rodriguez and Bergen to unveil oil deal while in Venezuela.
Order submit. Order cancelled. Order submitted.
If you leave
Order
the bracket
canceled.
on the chart for a little bit, you can see, well, how volatile is the market in relation to my bracket? Can my bracket survive a few seconds on the chart if the market is similar in its volatility at 10 o'clock? Right now we're getting a
Order
pretty big
submitted.
sell-off.
Order cancelled.
Getting a big sell-off before the news. You could say, this is part of our market open. It's 12 minutes after the open. Now, I agree with you there, Nitin, that the NQMNQ has better moves. It moves much more than the RTY moves. Totally agree. But we're also looking safety of the setup over a pretty significantly extended period of time. Or sometimes you get an instrument that's just working great over the last 3, and sometimes we'll go with that. But so here's our RTY.
Order submitted.
I'm not trading this in a funded account this morning. I don't think.
Order cancelled.
I'm thinking. Let's put our reverse continue on like we always do. RTY. 35 target, 35 stop.
The S&P 500 turns, index turns negative, reversing gain of as much as 0.5%.
Labeled RTY, reverse continue.
1 minute
And our
remaining for the US
breakout.
S&P Services PM. Excuse me.
Let me see where I want to trade that.
1 minute remaining.
Okay, right now, RTY. Oh, that oil account that got hurt. Yeah, I'm going to trade it in that oil account that got hurt. See if we can make that money back. Or,
Deutsche Bank CEO expects longer phase of volatility due to
no,
war.
let me trade it in a healthier account. Trade it in 38. No, That's a fresh account. I want to trade it in an
10
account that's
seconds.
making money. Trade it in 32. Okay, that's a prop account that's making money.
51.7, 51.7, higher than forecast at 52.3. US S&P Composite PMI final, 51.9, 51.9, lower than
There was that
forecast at 52.3.
945 news that just came out, 945. Looking at the YM to see if there was much response. RTY just seems to be selling off. The RTY is selling off. The YM may do that low of day magnet, right? Now, because we're trading a different event now, if you were going to just stay and watch the YM and let the market work, I do think the YM low of day magnet from the open is still going to work. So RTY just throwing on a reverse continue for the ISM report. 35 target, 35 stop. So our RTY trades are set, right? Did we change the time?
Order canceled.
Nope, we have to change the time on the breakout. Let's get rid of, we got rid of the vertical line, 959.59. A lot of volatility in these markets. So RTY is ready. And then you have to look at gold on this report. I'm not trading gold on this report. Our notes are that gold has a lot of volatility on ISM. The ISM reports in February, ISM manufacturing gold moved over 250 ticks. We do have a gold trap trade. The tiers would have to be really big. That's a risky trade. I'm not prepared to do all that risk. MNQ 0326. First, you got to look at the news, right? There's a lot of news that makes up ISM.
We have posted the US S&P Services PMI February 2026 report on the feed for those interested.
I did want to watch gold. I'm reading what you're saying there, Francis. So we've got our RTY set up. MNQ our setup is a 65 bracket. Trigger at 959.59. 65 on the bracket. Targets of 25 and 60. Not positions. Position 1 and 1. It's MNQ, so I would do a couple on each. Target 25 and 60. The stop is 125 ticks. And go to break even if the first target gets hit. All right, we'll label that MNQ breakout. Right now it's on sim. We'll test the bracket. by putting the time on 0 for a moment.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
At
Make
10
sure your
a.m. Eastern
chart's on
Time,
the
we have
right
US
chart.
ISM Services PMI forecast 53.5,
Order
prior
submitted. Order
53.8,
canceled.
with a range of 54.5 to 52. Services
Order
prices paid
submitted.
forecast 68.3, prior
65 bracket.
66.6. Services employment forecast
There's quite a bit
50.6,
of
prior
volatility on
50.3,
the
and services
MNQ.
new orders
Order
forecast
canceled.
53.5,
Get rid
prior
of the
53.1.
vertical line on entry. Put the time back. 9:59:59. And I'll trade it in a prop account that's making money. And then we'll put a reverse continue on the chart. Strategies, news trader, change the breakout to a reverse continue. And we have a 50 tick target, 75 tick stop. And we will label it MNQ reverse continue. All right. So we have multiple setups. We've got a breakout on the MNQ, 65 bracket. And then we've got RTY. Right now we have a 20 bracket on the RTY. I want to look at gold. I would not trade the gold breakout. It's had 3 winners, losers in a row on this report. All right. But I just want to watch gold. Gold usually has a pretty good move on this report. That was quite a trade, Francis. It's been raining for 2 days here. It's cold and rainy. God, it's miserable. It's really miserable. Here's a gold chart. Like I said, I just want to watch gold. I'm not trading it. But I always like to put a reverse continue on gold. You never know what gold's going to do. You could blow up an account in 1 second, or you could pass an eval in 1 second with gold. Do a 50 tick target with a 40 tick stop, and I'll trade it in just a prop account, a random prop account I'm not using that much. And we'll label it GC reverse continue.
The IDF says they struck Iran over 5,000 munitions since the start of the operation.
Now, gold's in the middle of magnets. Might not be a bad magnet for ISM services. Let me see if I have any a recent video.
In 5 minutes' time, we have US ISM Services PMI forecast 53.5,
I don't know, so
prior
many videos
53.8, with a range
I've
of
lost. I
54.5 to
haven't lost
52.
videos, just some didn't get
US ISM
recorded
Services prices paid
for some
forecast
reason, or some of them just
68.3,
might be
prior
in different
66.6,
places.
Services Employment forecast
All
50.6,
right, we
prior
have
50.3, and Services New Orders forecast 53.5, prior
January
53.1. Also potentially expecting comment from SCOTUS on Fed's Cook. That is tentative.
and December.
The White House to review new prediction market measure from the CFTC.
Here's January's ISM. January, we had RTY and MNQ. And gold. Gold had a very unsafe move. You could see that whipsaw candle. Very unsafe. And then the RTY, much slower entry. And then the question is, did it follow through? At least to hit your first target. And it did. It got to the first target. And then I also have December. MNQRTY. MNQ in the middle, RTY on the left. RTY looked very, 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 very fast, didn't work. And then the MNQ looked like the market open. Looked like the market open, and that worked. That one worked. So RTY did not work in December. MNQ did. Anything can happen.
According to a US military source telling a reporter regarding the Iranian missile strike on Turkey, it was launched at around 11:40 p.m. EST at Incirlik Air Base. A US Navy ship in the Med was shot it down with an SM-3.
All right, so we just have a minute and a half. And then we have the oil report. Oh my God. Lord help me. All
1
right,
minute
1 minute.
remaining. I'll be leading with US ISM Services PMI.
Thirty seconds. RTY on the left, MNQ on the right.
10 seconds.
Order submitted.
Oh, I'm on the wrong
Order
chart,
filled.
darn
56
it.
spot 1,
Order
56
filled.
spot 1, higher
Order
than
filled.
forecast to 53 spot 5. US ISM services prices paid 63,
RTY, what
63, lower than
chart
forecast
was
to
I on?
68 spot 3. Services employment
So
51 spot 8,
RTY hit
51
all my
spot 8, higher than
targets.
forecast to 50 spot 6. Services new
Hit
orders
all my
58 spot
targets,
6,
and
58
it
spot
brought
6,
our
higher than
account,
forecast to
looks
53
like a
spot 5.
$250 breakout that I didn't record because I'm a dope. And it looks like the MNQ hit all the targets also. I had my RTY on the wrong chart. Can't you all tell me that, for heaven's sake? 37. RTY made 250. Remember in 37? I wound up trading it in that account that lost on oil this morning. That's what screwed me up. I thought I wasn't going to trade it on that account. So that account was down 260
According to
and
a
it
member
got
of European
250 back
Parliament,
on that
EU
RTY.
lawmakers
I
continue
meant
suspension
to
of work
trade
on
it in
legislative
a slightly
proposals for the
better
EU-US
prop
trade deal.
account. So it's not, doesn't really matter.
According to the information, OpenAI's next AI model to have extreme
All
reasoning.
winners. All
US
winners.
stocks extend gains after February ISM
Now,
non-manufacturing data.
interestingly,
The S&P 500 last up
what did gold do?
0.3%.
Gold, I'd really like to run a replay on gold to see the move because I wasn't
We
even
have posted the
watching.
US ISM.
It says it
We
was
have posted
over
the
a
US
100
ISM
tick move.
services
Did anyone
PMI
do
February
anything with
report
gold?
on the feed
Anyone
for
do
those
anything with
interested.
gold? Let's run a quick replay of gold because we're here for oil anyway. So I'm not doing any other trades now. ISM services were mixed, by the way. It looks like. Looks like the news was a little bit mixed in that services were negative, non-manufacturing, which this is, were positive. So you do have a mixed report. All right. You do have a mixed report. Gold looks like it had a great, looks like this might have been a breakout for all. You know what I mean when I say breakout for all, where almost any instrument you would have traded broke out and had a winning breakout trade. So that's great. Good. Let's do a very quick, because it only takes a minute, test of gold breakout and or trap. I just want to see, gold looks like it had a giant move. Putting oil on so we could keep our eye on oil because we are here for the oil storage report. Okay.
The US dollar index cuts losses after
Gold.
US services data, last down 0.1%.
So looking at gold, looks to me, seems to me, dun, 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 dun. How do you download the data? Go to Tools, Historical Data. I'm going to download the gold replay data into NinjaTrader. Get market replay data. Today's date, March 4th. Gold contract. Choose the gold contract. GC 426, press download. Okay, downloads the gold data. Disconnect your connections. All connections get disconnected. Connect playback. Okay, we're going to run a quick playback. Okay, press continue. Here's the control panel for the playback. Both boxes, today's date, 3/4. Okay, both boxes, 3/4/26. In the blank space, right click, wait for the go-to to show up, and you're going to put the time of the trade, 9:59 and 50 seconds, 10 seconds before the trade. Ninja's going to reset that time. We're going to have to type it again. It's just what happens when we press replay. Watch. Oh, it didn't do it. All right, fine. We're on gold, so now we have to load our trade in. I want to see what a breakout would have done on gold on this report this morning. I'm curious because gold hasn't been working very well on this report. So we had a trigger of 959.59, a bracket of 25, targets of 15 and 30, one each. Target 2 was 30, target 1 was 15. The stop was 20, way too small. Probably should have increased that this morning.
At 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time,
The
expecting
label
text
doesn't
release
really
from the
matter,
Bank of
but we
Canada
label
Governor
everything.
Macklem, who's
GC
delivering remarks on
breakout.
the global economic and financial
You want to
stability
make sure
risks
your
at the
account is
Global
on
Risk Institute
playback.
event in Toronto.
All right.
The remarks will be posted on the website.
And now let me turn the recorder on so I have all this, and we have to record oil anyway. Hang on one sec.
So seeing nothing on Cook from SCOTUS, so not expecting any comments.
Welcome to the Pro Trader and Plus ISM Services, trading gold and oil inventories. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. Okay, so we're just testing our gold trade. You don't want the current time. The time of the report is controlled on the control panel. It's 9:59:51, and we want to see how this trade traded on gold. That's what I'm looking for.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
I'm going to do it again
Order
because I
filled.
just want to have it spread apart. Would it not have worked on gold? Maybe not. Maybe our brackets were too small, right? 9:59:50. Let's look at that again. And replay can be a very, very useful feature. Let's get our vertical line out of the way because it just gets in the way with our analysis. We'll spread the chart a little bit further so we can see well. And let's run that replay again where it's a little bit clearer. Gold was pretty volatile
Order
at the
submitted.
moment.
Order submitted.
So
Order filled.
gold did a nick fill on that report. The bracket was too small, it looks like. Because gold, what happened was gold went down first and then it went up. And that's why I wanted to do the replay, because that's what it looked like on the chart to me. So the failure here was you can't use normal setups in these markets. Now, I didn't trade gold, so I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about that gold entry and the gold setup. Obviously, the bracket was too small, okay? 25 bracket, too small. So one nice thing about testing is you can do the same trade with a 35 bracket, okay? Same trade, 35 bracket. Would you have survived that little bit of pre-trade movement? That's what we need to know.
Just to inform, we will now be expecting text release from Bank of Canada Governor Macklem at 10:20 a.m. Eastern Time
Order
instead of the
submitted.
previous 10:15 a.m.
And the
Eastern
answer
Time.
is yes, because that's what got us filled. That pushed down. So a 35 bracket. Now you're going to wind up, I think, with a pretty profitable trade because it went up a couple of hundred ticks over the course of a minute and a half. Watch. I'm going to speed it up because
Order
we want to go
submitted.
to oil. So
Order
get
filled.
filled. Bingo. All right. So for my notes, as long as the gold market stays volatile, you want to make sure that if you trade a report like ISM, and again, I knew that there was, I think we should have had a bigger bracket. But if you would have looked at the DMM, right? If you looked at the DMM, you saw a losing trade. No, you saw three losers in a row. So would you have been dying to trade gold on it anyway? No. Probably should not have traded gold on that report. But very good info is gained by doing this quick test, especially in the room when everything is fresh. Okay? But lesson taught, lesson learned is in this volatile environment, think very hard and very clear about what your brackets are. Um, that's the lesson. That's the lesson. Sometimes we don't think about it or know what the bracket should be until you get into the room and you see, is the market as volatile as it's been, or has it returned to some level of more normalcy? Gold, you could say it's not in a level of normalcy because when you connect, gold's up on the day. Now it's only up $28, but we were here when gold was up $80, 78, okay? So we know gold has real serious volatility today.
According to FARS, siren to allow some
Okay?
army veterans to fight if needed. Excuse me, according to FARS, Iran to allow some army veterans to fight if needed.
All right. We have an oil report. So here's, lately I haven't even wanted to trade the oil report. Last week, we had an anomaly trade on oil. I don't know if you all remember, but last week, let's look at the DMM. And I'm not going to look at 12 DMMs this week like we do sometimes. Suffice it to say, we know that oil has not been a good report
According
to
to
trade
HT,
at
Turkey
all.
summons the Iranian ambassador on the missile incident.
Looking at the DMM, oil is lousy to trade, all right, on a breakout. It's just not a good trade. Last week, we had an anomaly, and we took a short because there was like an 11 million build when they were expecting, I don't remember what they were expecting. I'll get the video, but let's set up a trade. So also with oil doing what it's doing in this world market, I'm willing to trade the oil report
The
on
Nasdaq
a
100 extends
prop
gains
account that's
1%.
decent, but not a funded account. Okay, oil does not behave well enough on this report to trade in a funded account, in my opinion, but we could get a decent move because of the world situation with oil. I mean, that's just, we could see a more normal move from the report. So I'll trade a regular breakout as per the DMM 1029.58 trigger. We have a bracket of 12. We'll see if we think that's safe. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. We have a target of 10 and a target of 20. Those are plenty big for oil report activity. The stop is a 20. I'm not really changing anything. Target 1 stop move, I'll do a break even. If it hits my first target, we'll check our bracket management by setting
The
the
S&P
time to
500
0
extends
on
gains to
sim
a
for a
session high
moment.
of 0.5%.
Oil looks like it wants to test that low again.
Order submitted. Order
Just
canceled.
as a whatchamacallit, as a scalp. I don't think I'm going to do it before the news report, but I'm tempted. It's putting on a reverse continue on oil. A target of 25 and a stop of 20.
Reminder in
Okay.
5 minutes' time, we're expecting
Reverse
text release from the Bank of
continue.
Canada Governor Macklem,
And I have to
delivering
look at
remarks
what
on the
account
global
I want to
economic and
trade
financial
oil in.
stability risks at a Global Risk Institute event in Toronto.
32. I think that's an account that's been making a little bit of money. So our reverse continues in 32. Yeah, we're up about $600 on this account. So the breakout, we'll put that on 32. All right. So we have our oil trade set up. And I'll also put a reverse continue on a second oil chart. I don't know why you don't. Well, because if the breakout doesn't end and you want to trade it in a different account, you can. So one target, we'll do a 25 tick target, one position, 25 target, 25 stop. Label it CL reverse continue. And I'll trade that in. I don't know, one of my small accounts, one of my end of day accounts, number 30. All right, so first things first. CL reverse continue. That's ready to go. We have a, let's label our trades. I didn't label any of my trades. So let's get these trades labeled. The reverse continue should always be labeled, right? It just says news trader. CL. Let's do reverse continue 32, different account. And then our breakout, we'll label that 32 BRK, just so we know which trades are in which account. Okay, so we have our breakout. You could set up a magnet trade for oil too. Very nice, Nitin. So I have I'm tempted to put a magnet. Let's put a magnet on one of the
US stocks
charts
extend gains, the Nasdaq up 1%.
for oil because I love getting signals. We can put high of day, low of day. We have one target. We could use a stop of 35. All right. Now in the old, I'm calling this the old version. The old version, the new version is going to be much easier to set up the actual trade. This, we have one position, we're exiting at -3. That's fine. We have a stop of 35. So if we hit a magnet, high of day, low of day, we have a trade set up. But we also want to set up a signal trade. First
4
target
minutes
of
remaining.
20, stop of 35, and the second target of 30. Do the first target of 15. Now, I'm not even going to explain this now because it's going to change with the new version. And I'm going to trade this in not 30, in account 32 with the reverse continue. All right, so we're just setting up a CL magnet just to look at
10
signals
seconds.
and to see, because oil's in the middle of a lot of different ranges. So one more time, the magnet, high a day, low a day, proximity is 3. We're certainly closer to the low, and that's fine.
Bank of Canada says it also
One
intends to join
position
Canadian
looking
Derivatives Clearing
for
Corporation
an
to centrally clear
exit
its
3
repo
ticks
operations.
before we get to
Bank
the
of
high or
Canada
the
says it
low.
will join
All right,
Canadian
that's
Collateral
basically our
Management
trade.
Service, trial party platform for domestic repo operations by early
And we need to be on
2027.
account number 32 to see these trades. And that was the
Bank
mistake.
of Canada says it will join Canadian Collateral
This,
Management Service platform for domestic repo operations by early
let me just
2027.
think for a second. We put a
Risks
reverse
posed by non-banker players
continue
in global debt markets may be
on,
growing faster than
it
our
needs to
ability
be
to
on number
understand and
32
mitigate them,
so we see
according to
everything. So
Governor
forgive me. You
Macklem.
just have to make sure all your setups
Macklem says
on one
global
chart
surveillance
are
and
on the
regulatory
same
framework
account,
haven't
or
kept
you
pace
won't
with
see your
changes,
orders
and
like
risks
what
have
happened to me on
mitigated, not
RTVAR.
disappeared.
So
Macklem
my
says we
reverse
worry about a
continue
shock
and
to
my
markets that
magnet
lead to a
are
spike in
just
interest rate
all
volatility.
on the same
Macklem says as hedge
account.
funds take on growing role in government bond markets, it is increasingly important that they have robust funding arrangements.
And now
Compressed
I
risk
want to
premiums and stretched
change
valuations in
them
equity and credit markets raise
over
risk of sharp
here
reversals. Opacity of private
to a
credit
different, I don't
means
want them
spike in
all on the
defaults
same
could cause
account.
severe strains, and including spillovers into public credit markets. Macklem says US and Israel attacks on Iran have increased volatility in energy and financial markets. There is considerable uncertainty about the duration and fallout of conflict. And Macklem says the
35
global
is the
growth are
account we're
greater than
using for
normal and
regular
are tilted
oil
to the downside.
breakout. Let's double check that. So we've got account 35 is just a regular old prop account with a little bit of profit. All right, so that's we're doing the breakout in. Then we have 32, which is our
Order
other.
submitted. Order canceled.
Now we don't want our trades triggering yet. So we were testing our brackets. The bracket, so there is volatility. You could see there's oil
Order
volatility.
submitted.
All
Order
right.
canceled.
Let's get rid of our horizontal line. It never used to bother me, that horizontal line. And let's put our time back to 10, 29:58. We know our brackets look good now. So we're ready. Finally, we're ready. We're seeing our orders. We could spread a little bit. We want to adjust now. We turned on our magnet, right? I don't think we're going to get to the high. I really don't. But I think there's a real possibility we get to the low here. And I will let the low fill. Let me check on this dog, folks, while we're doing this. I'm a little worried about him.
At 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we're expecting EIA crude oil inventories forecast a build of 3 million, prior
Okay, he
a build of
seems to be fine.
15.989 million, with a range of a build of 4.382 million to a draw
All right,
of
so let me
1.4
just
million.
recap.
Gasoline inventories forecast a draw of 1.979 million, prior a draw of
Recapping.
1.011 million.
We're
Distillate
trading
inventories
the
forecast
regular
a draw of
oil
2.357 million,
breakout.
prior a draw of 0.252
Why?
million, and Cushing inventories prior a build of
Because
0.861
oil
million.
world conditions. That's the only reason. And we have a reverse continue on the same chart. We have an oil magnet set up on the right side. The news
We have posted Bank of
could
Canada
drive
Governor Macklem's
us
speech on the feed for those
into a
interested.
trade. Okay, normally I don't trade the magnet that way. I absolutely despise. They have absolutely ruined investing.com. Just ruined it. Okay, they're expecting a 3 million build. That is not very big. It's just an average build. It's an everyday kind of build. Remember, that's what was happening last week. Let me see if I have the video. What was the date last week? Would have been 220 something. Here's last week's oil. So what happened was we were expecting a normal oil report. Okay, you can't see it on the screen at the moment, but I remember what happened. I remember what happened. They were expecting like 1.8 on a build, 1.8, and we got 11 million. So I don't think we were even trading. No, we were trading the breakout in sim, okay?
And
And
just
we
on
had
the
a
5 minutes
reverse
time, we have the
continue on
EIA
the chart
crude
on the
oil
right, and we
inventories
did
forecast a
a
build of 3
short.
million prior
We
to build of
had
15.989
a
million,
huge
with a range of a build
anomaly
of
build in
4.382 million to a
supplies,
draw of
a low of
1.4
the
million.
day,
Gasoline inventories
ripe
forecast a
to
draw
be
of
tested
1.979
on that
million,
news.
prior a draw of
And the big issue with
1.011
oil
million.
is it doesn't
Distillate
often
inventories forecast a
follow
draw of
the technicals.
2.357
In other
million,
words, if you
prior
get a
a
build,
build
it
of
doesn't always go
0.252
short.
million. And Cushing
In this
inventories
case,
prior
this
a build of
day, it was
0.881
a
million.
15 million build. It was more than 11, it was 15 million. They were expecting 1.8. It was a huge anomaly, so we took the short.
Hezbollah says they targeted a Tel Aviv military site.
Right there. And oil just heads down. So had a nice profit. And even the breakout worked pretty normally. It hit the first target. If I remember, I think it hit the second target too. Nope, it hit a target and a half, and then it changed direction. It just goes to show what we mean about oil. Oil does not follow the technicals the way most other instruments do, which is crazy. It's crazy. You can't count on oil moving in the right direction. So I think it's possible that the report will push us into the low. That's the reason I'm willing to try the magnet in auto mode. Normally, I don't trade magnets in auto mode right at the news, but this particular news has not even been so crazy volatile, you know?
Lebanese military says it redeployed at some border positions in light of Israeli military incursion into southern Lebanon. 1 minute remaining. I'll be leading with EIA crude
1
oil
minute.
inventories.
So the question is, will we get a test of the low created by the news or right after the news?
Ten seconds.
The breakout will be here.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
A builder free spot 475 million. A builder free spot 475 million.
So
Compared
there's
to the
a
expected build
little
of 3
bit
million.
of a build.
Gasoline inventories, a
Not
draw 1 spot
enough,
704 million, a
I
draw 1
wouldn't
spot
think,
704 million, compared
to
to the expected
push
draw 1
down.
spot
It's not
979 million.
enough.
Distiller
Order
inventories,
filled.
Now,
zero,
it
builder
happened
0
to
spot
work.
429 million, a builder 0 spot 429 million,
Order
compared to
filled.
the
It happened
expected
to
draw
work beautifully
of 2 spot
on
357 million.
the
Cushing
breakout,
inventories, a builder 1 spot
but
564
it
million, a
doesn't
builder 1
appear it
spot
wants to go
564 million.
test the
We
low
have
at
posted
the
the US
moment.
EIA weekly
It's
petroleum
not
status report
a
on the
big
feed for
enough
those interested.
build to have a lot of faith that it's going to go test the low. It's not even 500,000 barrels more. Okay, Ross. See you tomorrow. So, quite the morning. Almost everything we traded worked this morning except the oil trade that we don't recommend people take. All right? So I'm not going to trade this magnet now. You don't really have enough momentum that makes me all that interested. Okay, I've got to let this dog out. Give me 1 second and I'll come back and wrap up.
According to the Wall Street
Okay,
Journal,
sorry.
Western officials
So
estimate
just to
Iran
wrap up,
likely has just days of missile strikes left.
every trade worked. The MNQ Open worked. The oil breakout
Bit more
worked.
further info into this Wall Street
The
Journal article. The
YM
number of
magnet
Iranian ballistic
worked
missile
that we
launches is
took.
declining
One
at
we
the current
didn't
rates.
take worked.
Tehran has only several more days of
RTY Open
firepower
worked. The
from them,
oil trade
according to a
that we're not
Western official.
recommending didn't
Still, the
work, and
decline
we
might
pretty
also be
much
because Iran is
made
holding back
back
missiles, so its operations can
everything
last
except
longer.
$10 on that one account on the ISM winner gave us almost everything back from the
According to
oil
government
trade that
data,
we're
the
not
US
recommending.
government
Everything
shed
worked except the oil trade we're not recommending.
386,826 jobs in the
So
first
it was
year
a
of
good
Trump's
open.
second term.
Good morning, Open. I want to thank everyone on YouTube. We're going to close our YouTube stream now. Thank you for joining. We'll see you tomorrow morning.